Hi Tera fans, this is Tera Solo Gamer. I noticed yesterday that Tera had put out the patch notes for update 102.01, and I had planned on logging in this morning and showing you all the changes like I normally do, but then I was surprised I didn't see any changes and there was no new download, but I did not notice till I went and checked later that they actually mentioned the patch notes will be effective next week on 22 December. Unfortunately, I would wait until then and so that I could show you everything after the patch has actually been applied. But unfortunately, for the holiday season, I'm taking a couple of weeks of leave off of work, and I'm going to be traveling out of state for the holiday season. So I'm going to go ahead and just go over the patch notes now, even though I can't show you all the changes like I normally do. Although, you know, it is nice that they're putting the patch notes out so early, because sometimes they don't even put them out until after they've already been applied or whatever. So that was pretty awesome that they did that. They got the information out there to us. Now, for those of you who are not aware, anytime you want to go check on patch notes and things, just go to your main menu, Event, Update Details. That'll take you to the web browser. I'm terrible at using the web browser on a console. That's why one of these days I'll go back and close all those. We had the 102.01 build update, which they just put out there yesterday. And there it is. It says right there it'll be on 22 December, which is next week. But I'm going to go ahead and go over the notes now, even though I can't show you the changes. And unfortunately, when the changes occur next Thursday, I will not be... I'll be traveling out of state for the holidays for a while. So, all right, so they are talking about they have some class skill balance adjustments for Ninja, Burning Heart. PvP skills are increasing for those of you who do PvP. If you've been watching my videos, you know I do not do PvP. I do not do multiplayer dungeons. So I'm not a solo player. But those are the increases that are coming and the changes. Archer's getting some skill damage increases. Reaper's getting some changes. And there are the comments from the dev team. Ninja's getting buffed. Archer's getting buffed. Now it says Reaper skills were decreased overall, including the main skill, since we spotted high DPS recurring compared to other classes. So they're nerfing the Reaper a little bit. And standard balance improvement patch, and they talk about how they collect and analyze internal data and feedback from users for the balance improvement patch. Classes with high severity issues are the main target for this balance improvement. We'll try our best to improve balance with continuous monitoring. Right, so any of the specific changes, hopefully I scrolled slowly enough, and if not, you can always go back and pause the video. This has to do with the battleground thing. Those are PvP things. Champions Skyring DPS class requirement removed. You can play with a various class combination. So I guess I know historically, even when the leveling dungeons used to have like a 5-player thing, because original leveling dungeons were a 5-player thing, and you were supposed to have a tank, a healer, and 3 DPSs, but it was never strictly enforced on the leveling ones. But I believe on the in-game dungeons, they typically enforce that, but apparently on Battleground, they're going to drop that class requirement. In fact, I remember several years ago, they had a special leveling event for tanks, and then they had another special leveling event for healers, just because so many people were complaining they couldn't get into dungeons because they didn't have enough tanks or healers queuing up for them. So they were encouraging people to create more tanks and healers. But apparently that's still an issue, so now you can play Champion Skyring if you're, well, I don't play it, but now they do say Kuma's Royale for level 65. You'll be able to play it. And the battleground is for events. You can play on a specific period. So I'm assuming only certain days of the week you'll be able to play Kuma's Royale as a level 65 player. But I do know that for many years you could play Kuma's Royale going from level 1 through 64. But once you hit 65, you can't play it anymore. And I believe years ago they used to have it where you could, but level 65 is a separate thing from playing it from levels 1 through 64. And again, that's a PvP thing, so I've never actually done it myself. But apparently, if you are level 65, they fixed it to where you'll be able to play the level 65 version now, which is a good thing because whenever I look through the feats, there are certain feats associated with that, but for the past few years, you haven't been able to get to the feats because you can't play Coolness Royale level 65, but now you can. Now, for me, these are a little bit bigger because, again, I don't do PvP or multiplayer dungeons. I only do solo dungeons. But they're changing the quest for fresh arms and legs so that it has been giving Frost Metal. Now it's going to give Stormcry gear. Now, they didn't mention the accessories. What happened previously, we used to have lower levels of gear than Frost Metal. And you would get the lowest level. I think it might have been called Prospect or something. It's been so long, I don't even remember. But then they changed the minimum gear level to Frost Metal. Now they're changing the minimum gear level to Stormcry because, of course, we have Kaya's out there now. Kaya's Fury gear, which is higher than what we used to have for Fraxum. So they're going to end bumping up what your minimum gear is going to be when you initially get to level 65. You go to High Watch and you pick up your gear. Now, what I have done historically, because when they did the change to bump it up to Frost Metal, that actually showed my Fresh Arms and Legs quest again on all of my characters, even though they had all done it previously. And I was actually able to go and simply pick up an extra set of Frost Metal gear for every one of them. I assume the same is going to happen here. Go ahead and try it next week. Unfortunately, I won't be here to try it at that time. I may do another video later once I'm back in town so that I can show some of the stuff. But, yeah, try going to High Watch and see if you can pick up a brand new set of Stormcry gear. It should include some accessories, whether it's the current level or the higher level. I don't know if they're changing the accessories or not. But what I typically do is, because of the Frost Metal, I've been able to pick up several times. Because initially when they changed Fresh Arms and Legs so that they bumped it up, I was able to go pick it up from Dougal. Then they had this crazy thing where you went and saw, I think it was Kaya or someone, and you went through this long rigmarole to get new gear. So I was able to actually pick up another set. And then when they switched it back to just going to Dougal and picking it up again, then I was able to go pick up even another set for all of my characters. So give that a shot, because it never hurts having an extra set of Stormcry gear, even if you have that, because you can always enchant it up, sell it on the trade broker for a little extra money, do whatever you got to do there. Or you can just have it as a backup set for later in case you want it for whatever reason. The Vanguard Initiative Credit Merchant product changes. You can exchange Vanguard Initiative Credit to Superior Accessory by Vanguard Initiative Quartermaster. And that's the entropy stuff. As we all know, for the first several years, you could always go to the Vanguard Initiative Credit Merchants or Quartermasters at Island of Dawn or High Watch and buy really cheaply accessories or gear at the lowest level. Back when it was, I think, Prospect. I can't remember sure if that was the lowest level. But then when they bumped up the minimum gear to Frost Metal and to the higher level of accessory, they simply removed the ability from the Quartermaster. So you could no longer buy them. And for many, many months now, probably more than a year by now, I guess, you have not been able to get those things. And, of course, a lot of people have been posting, in game and all that sort of thing about the fact that, and it was bothering me too, because sometimes I like to switch it up. At least with the accessories, you're normally going to focus on either power or on crit. And what a lot of people used to do was get their free set and focus on, say, power with it. But then they would go and buy an additional set and focus on crit on that set. So that depending on what they were doing, they could switch back and forth between the sets. Well, that became pretty much impossible after they took all that stuff out of Quartermaster. So they're finally putting it back, and it's going to be entropy level, which is a great thing. So be on the lookout for that. And it says the glyph token prices are going to be reduced by 90% because you can buy some simple glyphs from them, and they're going to reduce the price of what the glyphs cost. Level 65 returning user reward changes. For returning users, Frost Metal is what it has been for quite a while. Now it's going to be Stormcry gear. And I have actually done this with several of my alternate gamer tags in the past. Because because I had like 3 that I use for support purposes, gathering purposes, whatever. I think it's more than 30 days. Typically what I would do is simply not log into like those 3 extras that I hardly use for over 30 days. And then once I go in and just log in after 30 days, or more than 30 days, I don't know the exact cutoff, they end up getting what was frost metal equipment. And I believe accessories. I can't remember off the top of my head. It's been a little while since I've done that. But if you actually just have alternate gamer tags that you don't log into for a while, at least 30 days, it might be a little slightly longer than that, but usually I go a little over 30 days and I end up getting the stuff, then you get a whole new set of gear. So if you have some stuff like that, you become a returning user who hasn't logged in for over 30 days. When you log in that first time, you're going to get a full set of Stormcry gear. All right, now the bug fix. Perfect power bracelet item attack modifier low value issue will be fixed. They're going to bump the attack modifier for the perfect power bracelet from 330 to 430. Now, the Fraxum belt. When I did a video recently for the new upgrade for the belts, all I had were Heroic Oath belts. So I showed the upgrade from Heroic Oath directly to Kaya's Fury belt. And one of my viewers, Tiger Nighthawk, mentioned that he tried upgrading his Fraxum belt, but it didn't work. Well, they're fixing that issue. It made no sense to either of us because Fraxum is a higher level than Heroic Oath, and you could directly upgrade Heroic Oath to Kaya's Fury, but you could not upgrade a Fraxum belt to Kaya's Fury. So they're fixing that issue. Next week, if you have Fraxum belts, you will be able to upgrade those to the Kaya's Fury belt. So I'm sure a lot of you are going to be looking forward to that because I'm sure a lot of you have the Fraxum belts and you're really eager to get them upgraded. I don't blame you. I would be too. And the Battle Pass mission description for language settings will be fixed. I showed in my Battle Pass video when this new Battle Pass season started that when you go into the Battle Pass missions, and it's happened in the past, instead of the daily missions and weekly missions being in English, they were in like Korean or something, which I can't read. And we're on the North American server, so probably not a whole lot of people in the North American server reading in Korean. I'm sure some can, but so they're going to fix that next week. All right, so few things to really look forward to next week on 22 December. Now, I did notice I have already done a video for the December events, and they have not yet posted anything new for that. Oh man, I accidentally bumped me out of the game while I was on the web browser. All right, let's get back in here. But I haven't seen any new announcements for December events. But the video I already did and the December event stuff they had posted was already going through most of for December. So if you no, that's not what I'm trying to do. Stop that. Got it. There. I hate chat. Too many annoying kids posting stupid stuff most of the time. But I did notice yesterday that they have started a new accumulated daily login event. So don't forget every day to go in and log in and pick up your daily accumulated login items for free. So just go to your main menu event, then accumulated. You can see I picked mine up yesterday, and you can see the event period up there. It shows 14 December through 25 December. I'm going to grab mine for today. And it's 30 days worth. The big payoff is going to be a Stigma Chest Superior only. Most of it is the same typical stuff that we get. We do sometimes have some Stormcry stuff in here, but I don't see it this time. You can always scroll through your own menu and see what all kind of stuff you're going to get. But again, it's the typical stuff we usually get. But there's 30 days worth. But we have a lot more than 30 days to get all of it because it's 14 December through 25 January. So if you miss a day or two or three or four or whatever, you'll be okay. You'll still be able to get all of your items. And that's actually one of the things I love about how they do this is they usually give you a few extra days. So even if you miss a couple of days, that's okay. You can still get all your items. And then you just go to my parcel post, just pick up that item that I just picked up from my accumulated daily login events. All right, so just to show you really quickly,
can I help you?
Credit merchant. You can see for quite a while now, the only equipment we've been able to get from here is the Mistel Circuit 1. Supposedly next week they're going to put all the accessories back in here. I didn't see any mention of them putting the gear back in because you used to be able to buy accessories and gear. So we'll wait and see. Now these glyph tokens that you can get, glyphs are very important. I make sure all my characters get all the glyphs I can possibly get. And I actually farm a lot of upper level Island of Dawn monsters to get even better glyphs from there. Right now they cost 300%. Supposedly they're going to reduce that by 90%. So I guess they'll only end up being 30 credits as opposed to 300. That's the way I'm understanding it. And then here in the special, they had removed all kind of stuff that used to be in there. I really missed the fact that you were actually able to go and purchase entropic emblems, and I missed that because most of my characters already have all the glyphs they can get. I don't need to buy any more Mistel circlets. Mine are all done, and it's like when I can keep racking up all these Vanguard credits. There's not really a whole lot I can buy other than going and buying more of the crystals. Because usually I'll go in here and just buy a bunch extra of those. So it'll be kind of nice having the stuff back. I wish they'd put the entropic emblems back. That would be kind of nice because that was a nice thing to just spend my credits on when I really don't need to spend them on anything else at the moment. Let's see, I did want to mention, I wrote some notes because I usually forget things. Now, in the previous video, Blake Arthur had pointed out that I forgot to show the Perfect Power Bracelet stats for that new thing. I explained the whole business with it in the previous video about it, but I forgot to actually show the stats for it. So I still have my +9 bracelet of absolute equilibrium, and if I go into upgrade, we now have what's called a perfect power bracelet. Now what I did after Blake Arthur had pointed that out was I posted the entire description in a pinned note, and I put it in the description of the video itself. But now there you go, there's your visual. Now the one thing I don't understand, it's called a perfect power bracelet, so my understanding was it was going to end up boosting your power as opposed to your crit the way the absolute equilibrium did. But when I look at it, it says it increases your crit factor by 26, which the absolute equilibrium already does, increases your crit factor by 26. As far as I know, the only thing that's going to happen is I think whatever I said earlier, they're going to bump the attack modifier to, I think, to 430. Maybe that's the only change. I don't know why it's called Power Bracelet if it's actually crit. So I don't know if that increases crit factor is a typo that they need to fix, if it's actually the power, or if the intent actually is for this to simply be the same as the +9 absolute equilibrium, but with just a little bit extra on your attack modifier. I'm really not sure. The name is extremely confusing if they actually meant for it to be a crit bracelet, but they're calling it a power bracelet. I don't know. Hopefully there'll be more clarification. Maybe somebody else knows more than I know about it, and they can go ahead and post something in the comments section so that help the rest of us figure that out. And I'm not sure why, but I wrote myself a note to just show the stats for the Kai's Fury Belt. I guess because Kai's Fury Belt is brand new and I just upgraded it last time. I did show the stats when I did the upgrade from my Heroic Oath to Kai's Fury, but I wrote myself a note, so I'm just showing it in case maybe you have Frax Belt, but you haven't been able to upgrade yet. So that's what you can look forward to once they install the patch next week. And you'll be able to upgrade your upgrade your Fraxon Belt to a Kai's Fury Belt. Okay, we did the Quartermaster thing. Now, if they apply the patch, whoops, not inventory. What normally happens is right here for the Federation quest, Fresh Arms and Legs. What normally happens whenever they change that Fresh Arms and Legs and you get different kinds of equipment from what it used to be, it normally highlights again as a quest you've not yet completed. So that should highlight again, and then you should be able to go to iWatch again and pick up the now Stormcry as opposed to what has been given out before as Frost Metal, because they're bumping the minimum gear up to Stormcry now. So I always like to go and get all those extra things for free because it's nice for getting. It gives you more enchanting stuff that you can enchant if you're working on some of those special titles. It's nice to have just as a backup in case you feel you may ever need it later, or you can simply enchant them up to the point where you can be able to sell it to someone else in the trade broker, whatever. But it's free. Go grab it if it works the same way it has in the past. And if it doesn't work the same way it has in the past, then I guess just new characters getting level 65 will get it. Of course, as you can see here, the only quest I haven't done is that thing because the multiplayer dungeon, and they try to cram that down our throats, but that's a whole different issue. And again, I did show this in the previous video about the Battle Pass season when it came out. As you can see, our daily missions and our weekly missions are in like Korean or something. Can't even read it. I only read English and some German, but other than that, but supposedly they'll fix this with the patch so that those will be in English, and we'll actually be able to tell what the daily missions are for us to go out and earn our little rewards and stuff. And the only other couple of little things I wanted to mention, which this is an aside basically, is Jessica Meyer and I were talking in my comments on one of my previous videos that one thing we always look forward to is the Santa event that normally happens in December. I have not yet seen any mention of the Santa event. And I always look forward to it because I gather a lot, and I mean a lot, of certain things from that. News Tera, I believe, is one of those things I get a whole lot of. There are these, I forget what they're called, some kind of draconian tokens. You can get a bunch of tokens to get some free dragon mounts and stuff. And several other really good things coming off the top of my head. So I'm hoping to see something soon for the Santa event. I hope it happens. I haven't seen anything yet. As good as they have been for the past several months with getting all the annual events, I'm hoping they also do the Santa event. I haven't seen it yet. It's kind of late in the month to not have seen it, so not sure what's going on with that. And the other thing that's sort of an aside that I wanted to mention is just a personal thing that I've been waiting for a long time. Quite a few months, maybe even a year by now. We all know they had made the enchanting and upgrade of your gear much easier a while back, either in the past few months, maybe a year or so. And what they did was they dropped a whole lot of the enchanting materials that you used to need for enchanting. You no longer need it. They're basically kind of useless, except you can convert them into metamorphic emblems, which is cool, since we can't use them for enchanting anymore. But now we still have all these things out there. Champions Enchanting Chest. Most of those enchanting materials are useless for anything other than simply converting into metamorphic emblems. Brilliant Enchanting Chest. Basically useless stuff, not used for enchanting. We no longer have the lower level gears that used to use rubies and sapphires. So I'm kind of hoping, some of these kind of chests, like Guardian Legion Jewel Box, they'll simply drop the rubies and sapphires and give us higher percentage chances to get emeralds or diamonds, or something to that effect. Bonus Material Box 3, again, useless enchanting materials. Bonus Material Box 4, useless enchanting materials. And actually for this one, it would be nice if they would just drop all the stuff in there that's no longer used for enchanting. Keep some of the stuff like Marks of Fate, Concentrated Ectoplasm, Golden Plate, Silver Plate, Emeralds, and Diamonds. And maybe even add those blacksmith things. Because those of us who don't do multiplayer dungeons can't get the blacksmith things because you have to do multiplayer dungeons for those. Maybe even add the Abyssal stuff to make Abyssal accessories, because again, that's one of those things that solo players, we have no way of getting that because we don't do multiplayer dungeons. Just sort of a wish list kind of thing for me. But even without adding those extra things, it would still be nice if they would fix these things to where they get rid of all the useless enchanting materials that's no longer even used, that they drop from enchanting, and give us a higher percentage chance of getting some Concentrated Ectoplasm, Golden Plate, Silver Plate, Emerald, Diamond, those things that we still use. Oh, and of course, Devil Claw, Ortan's Horn, and Hazard Scale, Ceres's Nail. We want to keep those, or not Devil's Claw, Ortan's Horn, Hazard Scale, Ceres's Nail, because those go for that special brooch. Is it the Hunter brooch? I forget what it's called. All my characters actually have that special brooch from that, but I got all the stuff from the Tera box 4, so those should stay. But at least we'd have a higher percentage chance of getting things like that, concentrated ectoplasm and the other stuff that is still used for enchanting or creating brooches, whatever. Bonus Tera box 2, again, most of that stuff is useless. So I'm hoping, that maybe they will, because like in this case, we could get better chances for golden derrick, silver sigilo, and emeralds if they drop the rest of that stuff that's not even used anymore for enchanting anything. Ducal guild supplies, same thing. There's all kind of boxes and things, and I'm sure there's other ones that I don't even have in my inventory right now, that they need to fix what the materials are that are dropping. Because again, the vast majority of stuff dropping from all those things I showed, and probably a lot of other things that are out there, those enchanting materials are useless now, other than converting them to metamorphic emblems. So that's just my little personal thing. I've actually been watching and waiting for it for a long time, ever since they simplified the enchanting process, which I'm very happy they simplified the enchanting process for a lot of that stuff, and they reduced the amount of different types of enchanting materials you needed. But I was actually thinking that they would fix what drops from all those kind of boxes, plus other stuff that's probably out there, because typically in the past that's what they've done. We used to have all kind of different crazy kinds of in-game gear when this game first started. It wasn't as simple as it is now, where you simply get in-game gear and then you upgrade up. You had all these different things you created. But then when they were changing it, of course they changed all the boxes and things to drop the appropriate materials for the way they had changed the enchanting, the way it worked now. And so I'm hoping they do that with this as well. Okay, so I wanted to go over those things for the 102.01 patch notes. I had hoped that this morning the patch would be applied, but then I noticed later when I saw it wasn't applied that it actually says it's going to be out there on 22 December. So thank you, Tera, for getting that information actually out there early. And again, unfortunately, I'm going to be traveling out of state for a while during the holiday season, so I'm not going to be here next week when they actually apply the patch. I may do another video later on just to give you the visuals, and hopefully by then there'll be more event stuff posted, because by the time I'm back, we're going to be moving. It'll be almost January. So, maybe I'll do another video for that sort of thing. All right, so that was it. That's all I wanted to cover. Sorry I can't give you the visuals, but the patch isn't coming out till next week, so go ahead and be prepared for it and look forward to it. Until next time, enjoy Tera and happy gaming.